What's going on, everybody? We're going to go ahead and get ready to get started in just a bit. As y'all see on the screen, what we're going to be talking about today, definitely got the Titans trying to bounce back against the Denver Broncos coming up on Sunday. See if the Titans could definitely pull that out. We're definitely going to close the book on. We're definitely going to close the book on the Kansas City Chiefs game where the Tennessee Titans unfortunately could not pull it out in overtime. And also, we're going to get into Denver. We're going to talk about Malik Willis a little bit. Can he improve? He had, definitely a quote that was eye opening. And also talking about the wide receivers and this inept passing offense that just can't seem to do anything. And one receiver in particular had a very interesting thought on this, had something to say about the wide receiver struggles, and I got to call him out on it. So we're definitely going to get into that. Again, make sure y'all share this show out. Share the show out to everybody. We're going to get ready to get started in less than 60 seconds. Share this out it's on YouTube. Also, we're going to make sure it gets on all the podcasts on Google, on Apple, iHeartRadio, and Spotify as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. And go ahead and let's get ready to get the show started. We will begin in less than 60 seconds. Here we go. Good evening, Titan Nation. How is everybody? What's going on out there, Titan Nation, football fans everywhere? Welcome in to TNT Tonight, Titans of Truth. I'm your man, Chris, a.k.a. Blue Enforcer. We're going to have a very good episode for you this evening. Again, I want to ask if you do, please be so kind as to share this show out. You can definitely share it out on Facebook, on Twitter. Also, you can take a screenshot, put it on Instagram. I am actually about to put this out on Instagram as well myself. And so, making sure that everybody knows they can come on in as well and join the conversation as we talk Titans, Broncos. We're also going to talk about ending this Kansas City game and some comments that were made by a particular receiver as well as a quarterback in regards to this game. We're definitely going to talk about it. Again, make sure y'all follow the channels if you haven't already on Facebook, on the Titans of Truth main page. Also, the TNT Enforcers fan page on Instagram at Titans_in_truth, and also on Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer. So definitely make sure y'all follow those channels, and definitely make sure that you also give a like. I would like everybody to smash the like button that comes in and watch the show tonight. Please hit that like button. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell and hit all under the notifications. So that way you know everything whenever I go live or whenever we have something coming out. Make sure you do hit that like button and that subscribe button. So that way you know exactly what's going on with everything, and we can definitely have a good time. So let's go ahead and get into this. I see we have a few people. I know our resident hater, Mr. Kent Woods, was kind of watching. Hopefully he's getting a little bit better. We see AZ Mick is in the house. Herman down in the big state of Texas. We got 615 podcast saying the passing game is non-existent, which is very true. We are going to talk about that. And we got one of the ladies in here, Miss Amy Childers, coming in. I appreciate you watching. Thank you for tuning into the show. So let's go ahead and pop right into what we got going on. I see Philip is in here as well. So I definitely do appreciate that. So again, everybody, welcome into the show, and we're going to have a lot of fun. But let's close the book on the Kansas City Chiefs. And this is a lot of what we talked about on the post-game show. If you missed it, definitely go back and take a listen to that. Definitely go back and take a listen to that. And give me your thoughts on that. The Tennessee Titans do fall in a terrific game against the Kansas City Chiefs, but they fall to 5-3, 20-17 in overtime. And, again, just like I said before, this game was – I had to drink some water there. I mean, it was a dog fight. It was much more of a fight than Kansas City was expected to have to put up. And I definitely give credit to the Titans for that. And again, I think the defense was fantastic. Even though, yes, if you look at the stats, they say Patrick Mahomes threw for 440 yards and everything. But Patrick Mahomes had to earn every single bit of those yards. Nothing was given to him. And then, special teams did some things very well. And Derrick Henry was Derrick Henry, obviously. But the problem was ending up passing offense. And, that's something that we're definitely going to talk about a little bit later. And we're definitely going to go into that much further. But, again, you had I'm just going to quickly go through my good, bad, and god-awful that I mentioned on Sunday. Good was Derrick Henry. They could have used him a lot more in the second half. He had over 115 yards rushing, probably could have had more. The Nashville nasty defense that definitely was nasty on there, and the improvement of Shane Bowen. I think Shane Bowen has definitely improved. Would not be surprising if he gets some head coaching looks, but I think he's going to stay right here. The bad, of course, was I think Malik struggled at times, especially in late game, when it was the game on the line and in overtime. I think he struggled a bit and looked like a deer in headlights, but there were some good parts there too. I think there were some times that he did do some things well. There was a couple of passes that he had right on the money, and those inept receivers dropped them, which we'll get into. But that was something that I just wasn't a fan of. Bud Dupree getting injured again. That's really the only defensive knock that I really have, is that Bud Dupree just could not finish another game. And that is starting to be concerning to me, is that Bud Dupree will start a game, but he won't finish. And that's becoming far too often of a problem. And then, of course, Todd Downing not making any adjustments, but more on that in just a bit. The god-awful, again, non-existing passing offense. You got no playmakers at wide receiver. The refs absolutely won this game for the Kansas City Chiefs, especially during that 2-point conversion try. I also mentioned Vrabel's loyalty and stubbornness, and that's just basically because of Todd Downing. And then John Robinson. I think John Robinson's lack of moves at the trade deadline is a big reason why we lost this game. John Robinson could have went out and got a wide receiver. I know there are some people that will say, well, who could we have gotten that would have improved this offense? And again, I will say, any of them. Judy, Claypool, all of them are way better than any receiver we got right now. And that's plain and simple. And you don't have a playmaker because you had a playmaker, but you traded them like idiots. So that's why I say John Robinson's like a moves. And that was the good, the bad, and the awful that I had to get out from the post game and everything. So I see Sin City Titan saying tighten up. And, Sin City said some stuff, was saying some stuff that I just thought kind of tickled my fancy, but not in a good way. Landon says Todd Downing. Amy says Downing Falcons in overtime, he would put Henry out there. And that is an excellent point. Hefe KC, I appreciate him, watching more regularly. Of course, he's a Kansas City guy. So, I do appreciate that, even though I didn't appreciate Kansas City winning. But, Herman says he's in Dallas. Don't hold it against me. You down there with the cowgirls. I feel your pain. Volcano says Traylon will give a boost to the passing game. And we're going to definitely get into that as well. And that's why I want to ask all of you tonight as we talk about this. From that game, who was your two-tone blue star of the game from Kansas City? Who did their job in trying to help the Tennessee Titans win this game? There's about maybe a couple of ways we could go here. Obviously, King Henry would be one. Another would definitely be a lot of guys on defense, in particular, Danico Autry or Big Jeff playing through the ankle injury. Roger McCreary getting his first career interception. If it wasn't for a bad penalty, Kevin Byard would have had another one to open the game. So, who do y'all think is the two-tone blue star of the game? I will definitely give y'all mine in just a bit, but I am definitely going to go through some of the comments. DO9, what's up? He basically says, pay Big Jeff. I do agree with that. And if they don't, they will absolutely kill the fan base right there. They will have no more fans, myself included. I'll still, don't get me wrong, I will still be a Titans fan, but I will look at this team in a whole different light, and it wouldn't be a good one. And it would be one where I wouldn't talk glowingly about them going forward if they don't pay Big Jeff. 615 says Danico gets it. Ian basically says the entire defense. Now, Ian, I can get with you on that, but I need you to be a little bit more specific. Any specific player that did their job. But, there's quite a few that you could definitely go with. And I'll even give a little offensive love to maybe like an Austin Hooper. Even though he didn't get thrown the ball a lot, he caught 2 of his 3 targets that he did have and everything. So I could definitely see that. But I think, even though I would love to just go with the obvious of Derrick Henry, and that would be extremely obvious on that. Now, Philip, Ian basically says Fulton County Jail. Now, I could get behind that too, because Christian Fulton has definitely become a lockdown corner. He has definitely done that. Phillip goes in and says, David Long Jr. He set the tone, especially getting under Kelsey's skin early. So I definitely could get with that. Shane, of course, going with Derrick Henry. I'm going to have to say the two-tone blue star of the game. I like a lot of those defensive choices. I do agree. But I am going to go. I'm going to have to go with my homie of the 615 podcast, Mr. Lee Hillis. I got to go with Danico Autry, because Danico Autry is the most underrated Titan signing ever. Besides, I would almost venture to say much more underrated than Delanie Walker. And that was a hell of a signing, was Delanie Walker. But Danico Autry comes in. Him and Big Jeff have been a force. I mean, Danico Autry has 7 sacks on the year. 7. To, I believe, he is the Titans' leader in sacks, if I am not mistaken. And that's what I'm about to confirm. But I want to say, I think he is the, yes, he is the team leader in sacks. The Titans have 23 as a whole. Big Jeff has 5.5. Danico has 7 to lead the team. So he leads the team in sacks right now. But also, definitely giving an honorable mention to Christian Fulton and also Big Jeff, because Big Jeff playing through that ankle injury, I could tell it was bothering him because, whenever time where plays were getting downfield, Big Jeff could normally run them down, and it looked like he just couldn't run them down like he normally would. So, that I got to give Big Jeff some points on effort just playing through everything. And again, I think Christian Fulton, and I like the progression of Roger McCreary as well. So I think we got 2 fine corners on the outside, without a doubt. I see Rocky Yit is in here. Big Jeff is Batman. Autry is Robin. I do agree with that from Herman, and he's also impressed with Fulton's progression. Definitely. So I give it to Danico Autry. I think Autry, again, the most underrated signing in Titans history. And I absolutely love what the defense was able to do. What's up, my guy Brandon B. Payne in the house. So this defense is something for this Titan fan base to be proud of. Absolutely to be proud of. So this defense could carry us to a Super Bowl. They really could. But whenever there's a star of the day, there's also a dunce of the day. And I know there could be plenty of those as well. Mark Sumter saying, tighten up. So who is your dunce of the day? Who could it be? Could it be the offensive line? Dennis Dudley, Dud. Could it be any of the wide receivers? Chris Conley or Nick Westbrook-Akina, not coming down with catches. And, of course, had some, very disturbing thoughts after the game, which I was very surprised to hear. Is it Todd Downing for his inept play calling at times, or not being able to adjust in the second half and keeping Henry on the sideline? Is it Mike Vrabel being so stubborn to not step in and tell Todd Downing, hey, get my running back in there? Or could it be John Robinson again for not making moves at the deadline and seeing this inept offense, anything about it? So we could go a whole lot of great ways. Definitely. So who do we blame for that? And I will give some shout out to 615. I know you had a big show. Y'all definitely go check out 615 podcast. I know you had Chase McCabe from 1025 The Game on there. So definitely check him out as well. He says Todd drowning. Shane goes with drowning. With Downing. Says Henry was on the field about 28 or 48 plays. When you have no receivers, you can't keep the best running back in the NFL benched. I do agree. And the fact that the defense had to play 91 plays and the Titans only ran 48. Almost half of the plays that the Chiefs did. AZ Big goes with J-Rob or John Robinson. I don't call him J-Rob anymore because he doesn't deserve that name. Shane saying the refs calling holding on Kalu when Travis Kelce ripped the helmet off. So I could definitely agree with a lot of that. So, but I think, and there was some time where Malik Willis looked like he was lost, like a deer in headlights at times in the second half, especially late, where it looked like, maybe he wasn't sure what to do in that situation and everything. And Malik had a telling quote as well, as he said, he said basically, he was running for his life, trying to, get away from sacks, but no receivers got open. And he said, quote, "I hope someone gets open soon. I can't keep doing this." He says, "It's a team sport. I miss throws sometimes. I can't be mad if someone doesn't make a play. We are not perfect. We all make plays. We all miss plays. It's the way the game goes." I mean, he went on to say more, but the telling part was, "I hope someone gets open soon. I can't keep doing this." So at the end of the day, I honestly do believe that the dunce of the day, well, there's more to that. I think there's a couple of dunces of the day that I'm going to give out. One is Todd Downing. Because again, as always, and this has been happening all year, where Todd Downing, he does okay when he scripts plays. But then when things go off the rails, or you go off script, he makes no adjustments. For example, the read option was going great in the first half. It was basically pick your poison. You either cover Malik or you cover Derek. If you cover the wrong one, the other was going to have success. It was working. Second half, the Chiefs adjusted to that, and Todd Downing did not. Dion, I mentioned that already, paying Big Jeff. I agree they should. I know you said that a couple of times, but yes. So I'm like, you made no adjustments, none whatsoever in the second half to combat when they adjusted to you. I've always said it. You make adjustments. They're going to make adjustments. You have to be prepared to make adjustments to their adjustments. And as I've said, you have to make adjustments not just from first half to second half, not just from first quarter to second quarter. You also got to make adjustments from series to series and from play to play. You got to be able to make adjustments. Now, it's much harder to make an adjustment from play to play, but sometimes you got to see something and think, okay, you know what? we might could come back to this play and it could be ran a little bit differently. Or when the other side of the ball is on the field, you look at a certain series and think, okay, we could have did this better. Let's try this. That is called being a good offensive coordinator. And again, not scheming wide receivers open to help your quarterback. And TD had a great whiteboard Wednesday today where he described a play that you can scheme your guys open. The only problem is Todd Downing is inept at doing that. Shay says, I think this is a good time for Malik's development. And I mean, right now, this could be a good thing for him. And I know there are some people that blame John Robinson, which I'm not disagreeing with that because, A, you don't tell Big Jeff, we don't know how we're going to pay you. And 2, you had a chance to make a trade at the trade deadline, and you did not. I blame our division. We're built to win our division. And I do agree with that mindset as well, B. I'm not liking the fact it seems like Vrabel, they're all content on just winning the division. I'm like, you should want more than that. You should want to win the Super Bowl. That is your ultimate plan. Winning the division is part of that. But winning the division is not enough anymore. We want more. And right now, the Titans aren't seeming like they're going to give us that. And MHVACR is right, and that's what we're going to get into. It says, care about blocking, not playmakers. And that's not good. And say we have a $38 billion Tannehill, that's the problem. I would say this. You can still manipulate. You can still manipulate the salary cap. You can still manipulate it and make it so it works for you. You can still do that. You have to be smart in doing that. And in Facebook, I think somebody said, how you doing? I'm like, I'm good. I appreciate it. Thank you for asking. So Todd Downing definitely deserves to be done to the day. But I want to play out something else, which leads into the next point that we're going to talk about. And this basically sums up why I give another done to the day. And that is this. This is from Paul Kaharski on Twitter. But this was Nick Westbrook-Akina giving comments about the game.
We just go back to work. No one was saying this, earlier in the year, when we were making plays. So I'm just going to ignore all that and go back to work and just try to make.
I'm going to replay that because I had a bit of an issue. So y'all give me just a second. I'm going to get it back. But y'all started to hear some of that, and it just boggled my mind. I mean, it just, I had to step back and think, are you kidding me? You really don't think anybody knows what was going on? But again, I'm pulling up the, here we go. Here it is again. Nick Westbrook-Akina talking after the game.
We just go back to work. No one was saying this, earlier in the year, when we were making plays. So I'm just going to ignore all that and go back to work and just try to get better and make the plays that we need to make. That's all it is. It was a bad game. Had a few bad plays. And we just got to go back to work.
So that was Nick Westbrook-Akina after the game. And the thing that stunned me, which is why I give Nick Westbrook-Akina done to the day as well. For that dumbass comment. Now, I don't know if he was just frustrated or flustered, about the game and everything, and that just came out. But I thought that was one of the dumbest things you could possibly say. He basically said, nobody was saying this before. Nobody was saying this before. NWI. Everybody was saying this before. Everybody was saying it. Me, everybody on this chat, a lot of the media, everybody was saying that none of you were making plays, that the wide receivers are bad. We were all saying that. You're one of the only ones that obviously didn't pay attention. Maybe he doesn't now. Probably in fairness, he may not even pay attention to social media, and that might be a good thing. So all I can say is, and that makes me ask the question. And this is something I put on the graphic earlier. So I give NWI a dunk of the day for that ridiculous comment. We're talking about this inept passing offense. And the question is, are the wide receivers really that clueless? Are they that blind to what's going on? Because Nick Westbrook-Akina must obviously be behind the times, must obviously be behind the 8 ball. Because again, behind the 8 ball. Because he had the nerve to say, nobody was saying this about us before. Again, everybody was saying this before. You just weren't listening. And then he also goes on to say, well, nobody was saying this when we were out there making plays. And my next question is, when has the wide receiver made plays? I haven't seen it. Have any of y'all seen it? Have any of y'all seen any of the wide receivers make real plays? I'm just saying. And I know D09 says he's not a starter. He's a okay. There we go. Sorry about that, y'all. But it's the fact that NWI shouldn't have said that in the first place. I think Paul Kaharski and the guys baited them and they got him. But the fact is, yes, it is on the GM that he should have gotten better. They should have gotten better players there. But NWI saying, nobody was saying this before. He obviously hadn't been listening to social media. Everybody's been talking about the wide receiver position all season long, even before. And saying that they made plays, what plays? Nick Westbrook-Akina, how you going to say you've been making plays? You have 7 catches on the year. 7 catches in 8 games. Not to mention, in 4 of the last 5 games, how many catches does NWI have? None. 0. In 4 of the last 5 games, NWI, no catches. There's been an APP out on him really since the Washington game. So that's a bad problem. And not to mention, again, I'm going to go with he who, I guess a lot of people say he who shall not be named, A.J. Brown, has more yards and more touchdowns than all wide receivers combined. He has 718 yards. I believe the Titan wide receivers have like 658. So he has almost 40, he has almost 60 yards more than all the wide receivers combined for the Titans, and has 5 more touchdowns than all the wide receivers combined. Robert Woods is the only one that has a touchdown. The only receiver with a touchdown. So NWI talking about we making plays. You have 7 catches, no touchdowns. What plays are you making? And not to mention, there are a bunch of receivers besides A.J. Brown that have more yards than the Titan wide receivers. There are literally 8 receivers and tight ends, including Travis Kelce, who have more yards and touchdowns than the Tennessee Titans receiving corps. There are literally, and that's in yards, there are 8 players with more yards than the entire wide receiving corps. And there are 8 other wide receivers in this league. There are 8 other players, wide receivers and running backs and tight ends, or really 6 other wide receivers in the league that have more catches than the entire Tennessee Titans wide receiving corps. That's bad. That is horrible. That there are individual players outdoing your entire receiving corps, yet y'all were making plays. But we all know the only plays that y'all try to make are blocking, which Vrabel in his press conference puts a premium on blocking. Said that himself in a press conference. I mean, he thinks blocking is just extremely important. And for a run team, yes, it is. But not to that degree. I mean, by God. When Vrabel was talking about that, saying, I put a premium on blocking, on wide receivers blocking. And that intel is the problem. Buckeye DK says that's terrible. Blame goes to the GM. I agree with that. Brandon says, I don't think wide receivers understand the scramble drill. Downing doesn't feature a wide receiver or tight end. We have a bunch of slot guys. Downing doesn't create passing scheme. I miss Arthur Smith. I think we all do. And a lot of these guys probably shouldn't be on a roster. But at the same time, Philip says, NWI's response was a Vrabel-like answer. Team culture is wrapped around Vrabel's toughness, but also his arrogance. This isn't the first time we've heard responses like this from players. And I agree. That isn't the first time. Because Vrabel himself, it's like all he wants to talk about when it comes to wide receivers is their blocking. Great blocking. That's why he loves Cody Hollister so much. He talks glowingly about Cody Hollister's blocking, which is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Can't do nothing else, but he can sure block. And Miss Jackie comes in and says, the shame when the commentator makes a statement about the Titans not wanting to pay receivers like they did during the Kansas City game. Amy needs to take heed. You know what? I heard that comment, and yeah, Amy should take offense to that because it seems like they don't, a lot of people are talking about, well, you're banking on Burks and Kyle Phillips and Racey McMath. Right now, yes, some of those guys might be coming back, but we don't know if it's going to help the offense at all. We don't know if that's going to make it any better or any worse. We have no idea. We could be in the same position we are now. And, I mean, for example, yes. I mean, I just think this passing offense is just so inept. There's a lot of things wrong with it. One, you have no talent at receiver. They're focused so much on blocking wide receivers and not playmakers, as the commenter said earlier. That is a problem. Another problem, you got a bum at left tackle who couldn't block me on a good day. That's problem number 2. And Aaron Brewer being undersized and he getting a bunch of penalties on him. And 3, you have an inept offensive coordinator who has no idea what he's doing. We've said this before, we said it again. He don't know what he's doing. And again, as I've always said, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Right now, the Titans haven't learned from the past. Todd Downing was not very good last year. He hasn't been good this year. And I just don't think Vrabel has learned his lesson, and he's arrogant, as I've said before. Arrogance could destroy this team. John Robinson has not learned from his mistake with A.J. Brown. That was a mistake. And that is costing this team wins. And I know, yes, and I get it. And I'm going to mention this. Yes, Treylon Burks has been designated to return from IR. And I just need everybody to understand. Yes, while this is good news that Treylon Burks is eligible to come back. He was on the practice field today. One, that does not guarantee he plays Sunday. 2, it does not guarantee that Burks get back on the field. All of a sudden, Todd Downey's going to get smart and be like, you know what? We should pass the football to this guy. They weren't passing the ball much to Treylon Burks before he got hurt. I mean, it did look like it was starting to go to him more in the Indianapolis game, the first one, before he got hurt, because it did look like maybe they're trying to figure out, get the ball in Burks' hands before he got hurt. But again, they weren't really throwing the ball to him anyway. He has only 10 catches now in 4 games because he missed 4. So we don't know if that guarantees anything. Kyle Phillips might be coming back. Again, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden our passing game is going to get just so great. Treylon Burks only has 10 catches on 16 targets. Phillip only has 8 catches on 13 targets. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So we don't know if that's going to mean anything. We will see. It could. And Brandon is right. Are we going to throw him the ball? And people talking about OBJ, who could be medically cleared this week. He ain't coming here, y'all. So I suggest y'all get that out of your minds too. OBJ ain't going to come to a team, one, because he's going to want $7, $8, $9 million a year. And 2, he ain't coming to a team where he ain't going to get the ball thrown to him. He wants the ball thrown to him 7, 8, 9, 10 times a game, which they should be doing that with Burks. So the fact of the matter is, Why come to a team that you know you're not going to get the ball? And Vrabel was even talking about that. Well, we can't change culture. We can't throw the ball 50 times. Who the heck are we going to throw to? So you mean to tell me you hadn't decided to go get no receivers? But that tells me Vrabel like, I'm not trying to throw the ball. I want blocking receivers, which, again, is a dumb way of thinking. Burks will help. That may say a lot. Buckeye DK says Burks will probably always have that lingering turf toe and bad asthma. We will definitely find out. Receivers can't get open. I mean, right now they're not. And Phil, I like this comment. I like this one. He said, wide receiver break the huddle. 1, 2, 3, like 1, 2, 3, pour. Pancakes over and over receptions. I love that, man. That is a great comment. He said, who the hell are we going to throw to? I mean, that's what it seems like. Receiver we have on the field now is ridiculous. That is so true. So, again, we have no wide receivers. Burks coming back does help, but we got to see in game action. Also, I want to ask y'all a quick question before we do go ahead and talk about the Broncos and we get ready to wrap this show up. We're going to talk about the Broncos first. Now, Ryan Tannehill was limited in practice today. I'm going to see if I have the injury report because it was pretty lengthy of an injury report today. Yeah. So I got the injury report right here. Now, Treylon Burks, like Elijah Molden, they are designated to return, but they do not count against the 53. So until they're activated. And so before we get into the injury, I want to ask y'all from the game, can Malik Willis, did he improve a little bit from game 1 to game 2? And can he continue to improve? That's the question. Because we do have, coming up, we are going to have 2 games in about 5 days. Because you got Sunday against the Denver Broncos, and then 4 days later, we're in Lambeau going up against the Green Bay Packers. And Ms. Mims, I know she's at Bible study. Ms. Mims, how you doing, by the way? Why did they take Henry out of the game? Really doesn't make sense. I don't think that made sense to anybody. My guy X-Man says, need wide receivers. Henry can't do it by himself. I agree 1,000%. I think a lot of us agree with that. But I don't know if the Titans see that. And that's the question that I'm going to continue to be asking. Does Vrabel know that there's a problem with the wide receivers? Does he know you can't do this on just Derrick Henry alone? So can Malik improve? AZ Mix says, yes, he just needs time. Dion says, I think Malik will play. Telly Yo Kick says, yes. Miss Jackie says, yes, he absolutely did improve and will improve. He is the future. Dion says, not enough in my opinion. Brandon says, yes, he did throw the ball downfield, which he did. And I will say, I think in the first half, there were some glimpses that, damn, Malik, I think in time could be good. But then, like I said, late game in the second half and in overtime, looked like a deer in headlights. Looked like a rookie. But those two passes, now one was to Austin Hooper. I mean, I don't know if he would have been able to catch it, but they should have threw a flag pass interference on that one. NWI, the aforementioned guy that's been making plays, not. Also could have caught one, but he didn't. He dropped it. And Chris Conley, that pass, even Chris Collinsworth was saying it. Malik Willis put that baby on the money. Couldn't throw it any better. Chris Conley has to come down with that catch. He has to come down with it. And he didn't. So that also did not help Malik Willis's stats. Because I think there were some times he did get better. And there were some times he threw the ball away and lived to fight another down. And he does have some escapability potential. But that Chiefs defense was pretty good. Can't lie about that. I mean, here's the thing on overtime. One, he took a took a couple of bad sacks in that drive that ended it for us in overtime. One, you don't call a tight end screen to Jeff Swain of all people in that situation. You give it maybe to Chig, or you get one to maybe Robert Woods or something like that. Maybe that could work. And I believe also there was a penalty that might have drew it back too. But again, all of that is because Henry was not in the game. Why was he not in the game in those situations where you could have still ran with him? You could have still ran with him. Philip says, I think Malik can improve the coaching staff, let him play backyard football like the Bears staff is letting what Fields do now. Can't give him game manager game plan. And you know what? I agree with that. I think that is a problem. That they're not letting Malik loose. They're trying to kind of hold him to a leash and everything, and that's not fitting for him. You know? Yes, playing under center is important, but other times you got to just let him sling that ball sometimes, because that would definitely help. And I agree with DO9. You can't, I mean, yes, he needs to be let loose, but he also has to understand he can't do everything like he did at Liberty. NFL defenses are way faster. Way faster. And Josh comes in and says, I have a question. Is it time to consider whether John Robinson should still be the GM? Bad trades in recent years and only one first-round pick panning out. That is an excellent question, because I think a lot of blame does deserve to go on for John Robinson. Because John Robinson has screwed up in the draft, ever since the whole Jack Conklin, which he did not re-sign him. And in his tenure, only one first-round pick has actually panned out, and that's Big Jeff. That 2018 draft class is incredible. Every last one of them are players, except for one. And he was already gone out in DeAndre Walker. But everybody else has played. David Long is playing himself to a new contract. Nate Davis might get himself a new contract. Amani Hooker already got a new contract. Big Jeff better get paid. And then you made the bad mistake. You traded away your playmaker in A.J. Brown. So, yeah, J-Rob deserves a hell of a lot of blame. Now, I agree. He took his helmet off, and threw it in the ground, and that one on Kalu. They should have called that. The refs helped them win the game. John said, if we let Malik Willis loose, then comes the INT. Now, that might be true. And I think the Titans are afraid to risk that because they're afraid he might make a mistake. But you can't coach scared. You cannot play not to lose. You cannot play scared in this league. Because if you play not to lose, you lose. J-Mac says, you can't improve, you don't have wide receiver. Well, gee, I know why. Because y'all stole one of ours. Well, John Robinson helped in that. But that's true. You throw away A.J. Brown, but you get nothing in return, which is pathetic. Poor decisions have been made by John Robinson. And I do think Malik can get better in time. He does need some other weapons around him. Like he said, somebody get open. Problem is, none of the wide receivers are getting open. The tight ends are trying. Cedric Williams says, Vrabel comment is an indictment of John Robinson's failure to work out AJ contract, send the team back, building chemistry. I mean, again, you should have figured out a way to pay AJ Brown and worry about Big Jeff later. You'll get Big Jeff paid. But they should have paid AJ Brown. And that was a massive mistake. And I know there's a lot of people that will say A.J. Brown doesn't want to be here. But A.J. even put out a tweet during the game saying, nobody open. I repeat, nobody open. Now, he later took that down. But how many of y'all are going to actually say that A.J. was wrong? Don't worry, I'll wait. Because the answer is none. A.J. Brown was 1,000% right. And people are wondering, well, how come A.J. we're still in his head? Why are we still in his head? Josh got it exactly right. Because A.J. wanted to be here. He did. A.J. wanted to be here. A.J. said A.J. didn't want to be here. That's a damn lie. That is a damn lie, and you know it. All of y'all know that. A.J. wanted to stay here. But the Titans, and I'm going to continue to say this, the Tennessee Titans gave up on him. They tried to lowball him. That's why he cut off communication. If they had upped the ante and did it right, I guarantee you, A.J. would have come back to the table. A.J. would have came back to the table. And that's why this wide receiver room is horrible. We got Malik and Burks. Let's hold off the judgment of the trade. Now, that's true. Out of that, you did get Burks. You did get Malik. You also was able to get up and get Nicholas Petit-Ferrer. So, technically, you got potentially 3 starters out of that. But, again, you don't have A.J. Brown. You don't have A.J. Brown. And that's holding this team back. So I know quite a few of y'all have picked my brain already, and we will continue to do that. But let's talk about the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos, of course, coming in here at 3-5. They, of course, coming off of a bye week. They were in London. And got a 21-17 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars in London, where, of course, Wilson threw for 252 yards in that game and threw for a touchdown. And, Jerry Jeudy starting to come alive. Gee, I wonder why he's not playing on this side. Jerry Jeudy 6 for 63 and a touchdown. I wonder why he ain't on this side. Oh, yeah, that's right, because I guess we couldn't pay him. When you had the chance to go get him, You didn't. And, I mean, Jerry Jeudy, definitely a good player. They still got Melvin Gordon and Latavius Murray in the backfield. And even though he's been struggling, Russell Wilson is still Russell Wilson. So you got to remember that. On the other side of the ball, you know, the Broncos, even though Bradley Chubb is gone, you still have a very good secondary. They are number 2 against the pass in the league. Number 2 against the pass with Patrick Surtain II. You still got one of the best safeties in football in Justin Simmons. Draymond Jones at defensive lineman is still coming along rather well. You got a tackling machine in Alex Singleton. So there are some good players on that side of the ball. There are some very good players on that side of the ball. They're one of the better defenses in the league. So, you know, with that being said, you know, there's some ways that the Titans can, you know, make some success against the Denver Broncos, but it ain't going to be easy. The Denver Broncos are the number 2 defense in the league. Number 2 defensively. And they're number 1. They're the number 2 overall defense in the league. They're number 1 against the pass. Now they're about 21st against the run. But again, the Bronco defense is very, very good despite their record. Despite their record, very, very good. And, of course, all of this is a part of the Man Hour Network as well. Shout out to the Man Hour Network. Of course, I've been collaborating with them. Definitely hope to have my guy Mike on at some point. I know he loves Kansas City. We'll definitely have to talk about that. So I definitely do that. So shout out to the Man Hour Network. I know he has a lot of great things going on as well with the network. So Dion said the offense is terrible. It is. So the Broncos offense may not be great, but I wouldn't underestimate them. Their defense is really good. Their defense is very good. Number 2 overall in yards, number 1 against the pass, number 2 scoring defense. Number 2 scoring defense. Now the Titans are number 10 in scoring defense. Number 10. Of course, the Titans are also number 2 against the run. So that's something that can play to our advantage. Now, they're still going to say we're 30th against the pass, but it's a little skewed on that one. Now, of course, my friend Manow wants to hate. Talk about Titans miss the playoffs if they lose to Denver. I don't think they're going to lose to Denver. Philip says, Jeudy isn't worth trading for because he can't block. Chris Conley is a better option in my Mike Vrabel voice. I know that was being funny. So, yeah, I mean, it does seem like that. It seems like if you can't block, Vrabel ain't going to want you, which is pathetic. And I know some people are thinking if Malik plays, the Titans will lose. Now, granted, this could be Malik's first home game as a starter. But again, man hour thinking that the Titans are going to lose. I'm going to tell you why the Titans are going to win. And here are the Blue Enforcer 4 points to victory. Again, as we keep going, make sure y'all like this show, hit the like button, and also subscribe to the show if you haven't already. And also, download the show on either Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts as well, wherever you get your podcasts. But let's go into 4 points of victory into why the Titans will win this game. Number one, you got to keep Russell Wilson contained. Because even though Russell Wilson has struggled this year, he is still Russell Wilson. He is still Russell Wilson. And Jerry Jeudy is starting to come on as of late. So you definitely got to keep him contained, keep him in the pocket. You know, you got to get after him. You get after him, and you get after him, you can definitely force some turnovers. That's something that the Jaguars were trying to do and did do a pretty decent job of, was forcing a turnover. Number two, do not give up explosive plays. Because Denver does have the capability of some explosive plays with Jeudy, with Sutton, even if they occasionally throw to KJ Hamler, they could. But if you get to Russell Wilson, you won't allow that. And you make sure you take care of the running game. You take care of Latavius Murray and Melvin Gordon. And also remember, Melvin Gordon does have fumbleitis issues. He does have some fumbleitis issues. We saw that when he was playing for the Chargers. We saw that when he was playing for the Chargers a few years ago in Ryan Tannehill's first start. He ended up fumbling the ball, which won the game for the Titans at the end. So definitely don't give up explosive plays. Number three, and this is for the offense, win at the line of scrimmage. Draymond Jones is very, very good. Just because they don't have Bradley Chubb, Baron Browning, the other pass rusher that's really started to come on before he got hurt, he's day-to-day. He could possibly suit up for this game. I don't know if he will, but you definitely got to be ready for that. You got to win at the line of scrimmage, both in running the ball and passing the ball. You got to win at the line of scrimmage, really on both sides. You got to win at the line of scrimmage. If you do that, you have a very good chance of winning this game. And last but not least, I've been watching Pirates of the Caribbean all weekend. So, in the words of Pirates, keep to the code. Keep to the code. Run the football. The Denver Broncos are not very good against the run. They're about 21st. Travis Etienne had over 150 yards against that Denver defensive line. And a lot of those plays, he got to the edge. Derek gets to the edge, he could break one. And I would say avoid the no-fly zone and the double S. That being Patrick Surtain II and Justin Simmons. You got to avoid those guys. You do that, you have a very good chance of winning this game. Brandon says, make Russell throw an interception, field position, score touchdown, play with an edge. That 3rd and 17 did break us. AZ Mick thinks that Malik will have his breakout game against the Broncos. We shall see. So, I've gotten a few predictions already. Brandon says Bronco offense ain't nothing. We ain't passing. 20-13 Titans. I believe. And I am, I said this on Titans Rossi's show the other night. I think the Titans win this game, but Denver could beat us. Because this is the type of game we would lose. And I'm trying to see, I know another prediction. I know Zach had a prediction earlier too. But what do y'all think? Who wins the game? J-Mac says Denver's O-line is trash at pass blocking. D-line is trash too. Henry will have 150 plus yards on the day. Hey, I think he could do that. Josh says Tannehill should be able to play. Now, again, here's the injury report for the Tennessee Titans. This is what happened. This is as of today. And I know Vrabel said it was going to be kind of light. Torrey Carter was a full participation. Danico, Aaron Brewer, Christian Fulton, Derrick Henry, Dontrell Hilliard, Lonnie Johnson, David Long, Kevin Strong, Ryan Tannehill were all limited. And then Josh Thompson, Tierra Tart, Jeffrey Simmons, Amani Hooker, Bud Dupree, Zach Cunningham all did not practice. And for some of those guys, it was a rest day. It was maintenance. So I don't really put a lot into today. Vrabel said it was going to be kind of light today. We will definitely find out more going into Thursday and Friday. We will definitely find out more on that. But to the moment of truth, who wins this game? Is it the Titans or is it the Broncos? Do the Titans get to 4? Do the Broncos get to 4-5, or do the Titans improve to 6-3? Johnny Bell says, Willis, I hope Willis plays. This kid could be special, but we got to get rid of Downing. And I do agree. Todd Downing, I think, is holding this entire offense back. I really do. I think Downing is holding this offense back tremendously. But in the end, who do I think wins this game? I'm going with the Tennessee Titans. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think there's not going to be a lot of offense in this game. And I think the Titans, the home crowd, I think wills them to victory. I think they win this game 13-10, and they get to 6-3. And also, by the way, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make this game. If anybody knows anybody that needs a ticket to the game in section 143, definitely hit me up. I'm looking at $175 for that ticket because it's a lower bowl. And I'm going to be honest, I'm trying to make a profit. I'm looking at $175 to $200 for that ticket, but I am willing to negotiate. But I am not going below $150. I will honestly say that right now. But if anybody needs a ticket to the Broncos game, hit me up on any of the pages below. So, again, I quickly again want to give a shut your pie hole moment, which I kind of already gave it away earlier. And the shut your pie hole moment has to go to NWI. I got to keep picking on them. NWI. Got to pick on them. And because, again, I'm going to play that clip one more time about NWI.
We just go back to work. No one was saying this, earlier in the year, when we were making plays. So I'm just going to ignore all that and go back to work and just try to get better and make the plays we need to make. That's all it is. It was a bad game. Had a few bad plays. And we just got to go back to work.
So that is my shut your pie hole moment. I tell NWI, shut your pie hole and actually go out there and catch the freaking ball. Go catch the damn ball because you haven't been doing that. And also, I know the elections have went on and the midterm elections have happened, and we still don't know a lot of who's won in a lot of key things as far as the Senate and the House. But for all of those who voted, golf clap to you. For those of you who did not vote, shut your pie hole and don't complain about what happens if you didn't vote. You should exercise your right to vote. I early voted, and if you didn't vote, you have no say. So shut your mouth. Shut your pie hole. But everybody, what's going to happen is I may end up having to go to that Denver game. If I do not, which I am probably not going to be able to make it because right now my funds are a little tight, I will be doing a live stream of this game from El Toro Loco again this Sunday. So I will definitely be doing that. I will be up for the Bengals game, definitely. So definitely get ready for that. Johnny Bell says when people scrambled, people did not seem to want to hit him. I mean, probably because they couldn't get to him. I got to give it to Mahomes. He's elusive. He can run when he has to. But that's the best way to beat him is you crowd him up in the pocket. And once Bud Dupree went out, we couldn't hold contain. So that's pretty bad. Philip Madden says, shout out to Dusty Baker, oldest manager to win a World Series, third black manager to do it. I definitely do agree. Congratulations are in order to Dusty Baker and the Houston Astros. They did win the World Series. So definitely shout out to them on that. So everybody, I think that's going to just about do it for tonight's show. We went about 1:16. I thank everybody for tuning in. I hope everybody had a really good time on tonight's show. Super chats, of course, again, are appreciated. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like that button and smash that like button. And so, again, I will see y'all on Sunday. We will definitely talk about this game in more detail. I'm over 1,200. Thank you. Let's get to 1,300. And I can definitely put out some more for you. But let's get out of here. I thank y'all. Good night and tighten up because that's all we know how to do.